Hello, fellow AFL enjoyers. Back to chat about the recent trade period.
Most crazy trade period, I think.
Yeah.
That's happened in a while. Some of the names flying around. If you actually stop and think about it.
Every captain wanted out.
Yes.
Crazy.
Legit.
Not all of them got their way. We're kind of used to seeing players eventually get their way in the final moments of the trade period. And Zach Merritt's probably the big one that didn't happen, but there's many others as well. It just felt like a reality TV show.
No, legit, man. And it all like culminated with like somewhat anticlimactic, non-trades. But there was a big trade that did happen, and I reckon we'll start it there, and we'll start hot with the Carlton trade.
Yeah.
Charlie Curnow.
Moment of silence for George.
Moment of silence for Georgie. Look, I know
A minute of silence on the pod.
Yeah, no, this is bad podcasting. But no, look, I know that you're gonna say, yeah, I feel like you're gonna say you're happy, but 2-3 years ago, this was Coleman medalist. This was the man. I have you saved in my phone as Charlie Curnow.
You might have to change that.
I might have to, bro.
To Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank, or maybe your actual name. I don't know. Potentially,
No, definitely not.
Yeah, no, true.
Because then if I'm texting you at 1 a.m. and your girlfriend sees that.
Oh, you're right. True. She'll be like, why is he? But anyway, thoughts, Georgie?
Look, I was very involved in this trade period, but I think that's more so because Carlton was so involved. I mean, probably arguably the biggest club for the trade period, I would say, in terms of how many moves they made. You're right, bro. So look, Charlie Curnow was the big news, and what's always funny about these type of trades is they start off as murmurs, and the club denies them, but the media and all the fans still talk about it, and then the club denies them, and then the club changes the way they talk about it from Curnow's not leaving to Curnow's a required player to we want to keep Charlie to it's going to take 4 first-round picks, mate. Like that's kind of how it progresses. But we all knew it gets to the point over 2 to 3 weeks where you just think, man, just get him out, man. Like it's human nature to just be like, I've had enough now. I can't. He's not coming back after all this. He's touring the facilities. Of Sydney. It's clear that we've come around to it. The fans have. The club has. Zach Merritt will talk about, but just for a player, for that deal to not go through, let's say, and Charlie to come back to Carlton, you can't rationalise it. It's done.
Yeah.
So credit to both teams, Carlton and credit to Sydney for actually getting a deal done, because it's not easy to do for a player like that that's contracted, that's on big money. But we're just lucky that Curnow wanted out, and there's a club that really, really wanted him and needed him.
And, we've talked about that, and we'll talk a bit from the Sydney perspective, that their forward line, like Amadi, Logan McDonald's always injured. Other than that, McLean is more of a ruck forward combination. He's not just, he's not 40, 50 goals. Amadi could potentially be that, but I don't think he can be a main guy.
No.
Charlie coming in right now when they're, they've got good pieces, strong midfield, some, just a decent team overall. They needed it right now. Even if it's 3 or 4 years of good Charlie, great business for them.
Yeah, and it's a shame that Carlton wasn't the team that was able to maximise the talents of this type of player.
Yeah.
But if there was a team that could do that, Sydney's one of them, Geelong's definitely one of them. That's why they put their hand in the ring. But I think he's gone to a better place.
Yeah.
And he's gone to a place that should be able to make him a 70, 80 goal forward.
Yeah, again.
And look, that might be a little bit hard to watch, but I think it's clear that Carlton, if you wanted to summarise what they've done over the last 10 years, they've rebuilt and it's failed. And this year culminated in the failure. And we much talked about how poor of a season it was and how the club as a whole has realised that they're nowhere near it. So they changed all their assistant coaches. They changed CEO. They changed football manager, right? And half of their round one team is going to be different. So they've gone through a massive reset. The reason why I wouldn't call it a rebuild is because they're not starting from zero. And it's good to see. I think a lot of Carlton fans are happy because we want to change and need to change. And I think it's clear now that the club knows where they're at and they're making a decision for their mid to semi-future, right? And I think Curnow, unfortunately, is the type of loss that happens when you fail and you have to use a player like that to reset you. So we've got 3 first-round draft picks from him, Will Hayward as well, right? If you want to talk about the trades as a whole, you got Hayward, Ainsworth, straight into the flanks. You got Ollie Florent, who I'm not saying he's a world beater, but he's at least best 22 for now.
Yeah.
And Chesser is more on talent than what is realised, but he's a running player. He's fast. If he can get his body right, can add to the running power of Carlton, right?
Yeah.
So we're more well-balanced, but we've lost some serious star power. what can we get though in these first round draft picks over the next 3 years?
Well, Cody Walker's one.
He's one, right? And
Harry Dean.
Dean will be this year. So those are locked in. They're happening. There's also Jack Eisen, who's a academy player that looks like he's quite good. But whatever the case is, this Kerno deal will be one that we look back in 5 years' time when those picks become realised, and you go, look what we actually managed to get from these players. So if they can recruit properly and they can take advantage of those picks, this trade can springboard us into the future. And I'm more optimistic now than I have been in a while, more so because I know that the club understands where they're at.
Yeah.
And there's still enough pieces there, right, to kind of rebuild from. Yeah, we need more talent over the next couple of years. Yeah, we're going to have to lure some big fishes to actually be a team that's going to push for the top 4. But I think it's positive.
Yeah. Look, it feels like you guys ran your course with, the core of Mackay, Kerno, Cripps, Wiedering. There needs to be like an eye on the future. And this is almost like, again, it's not really a rebuild, but it's just sort of like, I feel like the potential of this side, the upside of this side goes up now with this trade because you're going to have a discontent Charlie Kerno.
That's right.
You look at him compared to Zach Merritt, right? Zach Merritt, even though he knew he probably wanted to trade in the middle of the season, he was still one of the star players of the competition. Kerno, on the other hand, he was trash, bro.
Yeah.
He was trash last year. Even though the potential's so high, he knew he was out.
Well, I think there was a couple players, by the way, that seemed like they were out. Like Tom DeGoning was always going. I think the boys knew that. I don't really blame him because $1.8 million a year is crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
But it is a shame to lose a player like that. It's also, a real criticism on the club that someone like Silvani wanted out, right? A third generation Carlton player wants out for probably measly more money and not really contract reasons, just a different club, right?
I think he's making money and he's going to go work for Baba. You know what I mean?
He's working for Baba. I don't think the contract was much more though. So I was hearing it's maybe on like 50K more.
Oh, wow.
So that's an indictment on the club. He's also the type of player that's going to get booed to the shit next year.
Oh, yeah.
As he should. So we've lost some talent. Don't get me wrong. There's retirees of players like Doherty, and there's a couple other players that have left and some players that may not even get contracts. Like we don't know what Elijah Holland's situation is going to be like, whether they're going to keep him. McGovern, I think he's still uncontracted. So there's still some players and some movement to happen, but it's a major reset and it will make for exciting viewing next year.
Well, I think while you're at it with the culture reset, you may as well get rid of a Hollands and a McGovern if they're not suiting the overall culture.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it.
I agree.
No point in half measuring it. So, yeah, that was my main thought. I'm glad you sort of mentioned it at the end, which is the Kerno trade in itself seems like a fair trade for a player who doesn't want to be there, and I would sort of endorse that one. But I think the cumulative loss of a couple players is a bit worrying in saying that I can see why it's refreshing to you to have a cleaner palette, because I've been saying that for years with North is you can only beat a dead horse so much. Like at times you just need new players, new faces. Like even we'll get to North probably last because it's the least relevant. But you bring in only a Charlie Spargo. For me, what that means is like you see a bit less Constanti, who was okay. Is he an upgrade on him? Like sometimes you just need the small wins.
Well, that's the thing.
It doesn't need to be a big one.
Well, that's right. But I think Carlton really needed a shake-up for the fans, for the club. The club's already doing that anyway, right? But let's say you have Charlie Kerno round 1 next year. Is Carlton going to make the 8 next year? Is Carlton going to challenge for the flag next year? They're definitely not challenging for the flag, even if Kerno's in it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be in the mix for the 8, but probably still not make it, right? They'll be within the 12 teams going for the 8 spot, with or without him.
I agree.
So
So you might as well just have extra assets to build on into the future.
That's right.
But the big loss really is Corey Durden, man.
Man, I was so happy to see Corey Durden go. Like, not that I have much. He's probably one of the better ones, but the fact that players like Lockie Fogarty, is still there, and Motlop and shit like that. Oh my god,
that's all right, man.
How do they survive every year, man? Fantasia's gone, right, because of injury. He was one of the more talented ones. The small forward stocks, I guess you could say Ainsworth and Hayward help in the forward half. They do, but when I saw Durden gone, I was like, oh, finally, something's happening. Anyway.
Yeah. Shame you guys couldn't get a Buku Kama deal done in the end. I think it just went a bit too late in the period.
Yeah.
And
he would have been a nice
Silvani replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight in there. You know what I mean? And then you don't have to rush a dude like Harry Dean, and you don't have to rush a dude. Who's the guy who did the ACL?
Harry O'Farrell.
So it's, it just sort of boosts the stocks, and, he could, he's a swing man as well. You know, you
Yeah.
can put him forward as well.
Look, I agree with that, and that might result in someone like a McGovern staying,
Probably, yeah.
which is okay. There's always I like Carlton's last couple of trade periods because they traded up for Jagger Smith last year, so they cooked in a way that you didn't expect. And then this is obviously a big trade period, and I always felt like there was maybe one little piece of the puzzle left, and I was hoping that was going to be like Humphrey. And there was all these trade stocks coming in. Oh, Humphrey's coming to Carlton, but all this big footy stuff of trustworthy sources.
Yeah, of course.
Which didn't happen.
ITKs in the nose.
Yeah, in the nose.
Yeah.
That little piece though ended up just being that extra first rounder.
Are you allowing yourself to get excited for potential Zach Butters next year?
Mate,
You brought in Travis Boat in the coaching panel.
basically it's just old Port Adelaide is in Carlton now. Look, there's no way they don't go for him.
Oh, of course. Mate, every club will be ringing that phone, his phone, Port's phone.
Look,
yeah.
it's so far away that it's not really worth talking about it. But I think let's say it's a bit of a reset year this year. Get some games into good players, younger players. Get Cody Walker. Trade for Zach Butters. You start to go, all right. Over the next couple of
That'd be
years,
massively exciting.
over the next couple of years, you can start seeing Carlton go up, but the right way, a sustainable way. That's enough about the Blues. But
I was going to say we are a general AFL podcast, not just the Carlton podcast.
Oh, sorry, boys.
Nah. Look, it was big for you guys, so we did need to really chat about it properly.
Can I introduce the next topic?
Yeah, 100%.
By giving some rare flowers to Essendon.
Oh.
Because I happen to think,
You reckon?
only because
Yeah.
Welsh, the new, whatever his role, the GM or whatever he's taken on there at Essendon, when he comes out and says a few weeks ago, Merritt is not leaving as his first sort of major media debut, and then sticks by it, that's how you get taken seriously for the next few years under your tenure. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'll give flowers, because they could have easily folded. They had a good deal on the table. Players, when they sign massive contracts, I think that's the risk you run. Usually they do get to where they want to get to, even so. But if the club does really turn around and say no, then they sort of have to deal with it. So I think, just for the simple matter of trying to take hold of the club and say, no, we're not pushovers, I like it.
Yeah.
Do I think it's the right decision? No.
Yeah.
Because I think the arguments, and we'll talk about his manager, Petro, whatever his name is, of saying like literally on trade deadline day, like for a 30-year-old, you're not going to get an offer like this ever.
I love
He's
how-
actually right.
I love how he's dissing his own player. Like Zach Merritt's like going, it's like, he's just a 30-year-old, man.
Yeah.
He's rusty ass.
Like, you know what? He's not wrong.
Trade him.
He's not wrong at all. And Essendon, in that reason, like should have taken the deal. But for a club sort of stance, I get it.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
No, that's fair. No, look, I think I like it. And look, we got got to see some of the body language of Petroro and all those dudes. And,
Great footage.
Giving it to
was
Roughhead,
great.
and Roughhead's just like staring into the cosmos.
We don't give it the AFL credit for a lot of things because they don't deserve it. But that vision, the vision in the rooms on deadline day is gold.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, the coverage was actually quite hilarious.
Yeah. Look, I guess in regards to Essendon, that was the big news. Under the radar, I like the Fiorini get, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I think whether he plays on the wing and he does a job for them there, or when inevitably Parrish gets injured, Caldwell gets injured. I think Setterfield, did he get delisted? Yeah. When all those dudes are, not there, he'll run into the guts and actually, provide something, a bit of depth. I think it's a great pickup for him, to be honest. For I think it was a 3rd round pick or something, so they don't dilute their compensation, if I'm not mistaken, for
next year
for Draper. Yeah. So that's kind of under the radar.
Well,
but they didn't pick up a ruckman, which now that's a bit of a concern. Like Brian's coming back from an ACL. We got Blackiston and Vigo. We got some interesting names at least.
I'm certain they'll pick up someone in the what's it called, the delisted draft after the actual draft.
You know what? It is time for the guy Crossley. You guys see Braden Crossley in local footy?
Oh yes, I've heard of him.
Go get him in, mate. Like I think he's got the big
There's options.
The Hulk Hogan type, mustache, and a bit of a cult hero. You know what I mean? If you're going to bring a bit of vibe, go get.
They'll get
Crossley.
someone in. There'll be someone delisted, or they can pick up someone from VFL or something.
Yeah.
So it's not ideal, but
Will they still be going for Goldstein as main man, but just arrest him?
for now, I think so.
But I think they've told him Goldstein. They've told him look for another club. I'm pretty sure, right? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure he's gone.
I don't know what's happening there, but you're right. There's obviously some problems with that team. Can the injuries improve and sort of not have as many? And I'm not going to say push the 8, because they were in a lot of close games this year, to their credit. They didn't get blown out as much as they probably could have been or should have been. I wouldn't back them to be in that top 8 race, but they should be better. They should be a bit more stable. Caddy can take a leap any year now. So, look, I think as a Bombers fan, they probably had resigned themselves to losing Merritt. Now that they've got him, it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, things aren't as doom and gloom. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't have high hopes for them, but
neither do I. I mean, you can definitely understand Merritt wanting to leave.
100%.
It's just over the years of the talk, he's gone, well, I don't believe you guys anymore, which is fair.
Yeah. And the interesting thing as well with him is that he's probably going to lose the captaincy. But then the next thought for me would have been Ridley, but then he also expressed an interest to go to Brisbane. So
it'll be McGrath. Thoughts?
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I've heard him and I've heard Langford as well as options. But I reckon McGrath is more ever present. He's doesn't really get injured very often, so I think I'd rather have him out there leading the charge. Well spoken young kid. So I reckon we move on to the deals with Melbourne, because Melbourne, like, we're not going to talk about just them, but we'll talk about the teams that got involved with them. The big one, Jack Steele. We'll talk about track first. So Christian Petrarca for pick, was it 7 and 8? And then they send a few second rounders back to satisfy Gold Coast's, points needs. But they also get a future first next year as well. Look, thoughts on it from a Gold Coast perspective?
Oh, they, with their picks, like you said, they're always sort of maneuvering, and they've got that steady income of academy kids. So it looks like on paper, like pick 7 and 8, that's a huge haul. We don't often see that. But they're the team that can actually move like that and get away with it. So I love it for them. Like, you're getting Petrarca, potentially more motivated Petrarca, you would think. Into that
he
midfield.
seems rejuvenated. In that interview you had with Gold Coast, he looked very, very happy.
Yeah. Now, I will say, from Petrarca's point of view, he also has said in the past he finds it hard to get going in front of smaller crowds, which I'm sure most players do.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to read too much into it, but obviously he's not going to have that box ticked by being in the Gold Coast. But I reckon he's obviously been sold the dream by Damien Hardwick, which, he's got something to sell now. They won the first final. They've got a great young team, Brownlow medalist.
Well, the good thing is he doesn't have to be the main man in the midfield, so he can become more of a Dusty, more time up forward, with Bailey Humphrey vibes. Like they got Rao, Anderson and Miller as main mids. Petrarca will play in there, I'm sure, but he's not going to a team like, I don't know, Collingwood or something, and being the main man, other than they can say, look, we're going to put you back to your best and you're going to be a 90-80% midfielder type of guy. So that gives him more flexibility. It probably extends his career.
Yeah, true. Because he's a very good forward as well when he plays there, man.
Very good. And looking at Gold Coast this year, I thought that they were missing some X factor in the smaller range in the forward line.
Yeah, they got Bailey Humphrey.
They got him, and he's their main thing. But you always think, where's Rankin? Oh wait, he got traded a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
and
true.
So having someone like him there, I think makes a big difference, man. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, look, I think because their team is already so well stocked in most areas, I think you might as well just get a bit of cream on the top. Again, like you said, X factor. So
yeah, well, they're going for a win now. Another win now potential move is Jamara.
Yeah,
they got Jared Hardbrow in the case. He's a mentor. He's going to be a mentor for Jamara. Whether they can get him back, but if they can get him back to realize his potential,
it's huge because they're
for
paying
a third round pick,
and they're paying him $250K.
Yeah,
they're not even paying him anywhere near what he's meant to get. But look, I do think that it sounds like he's very far gone in regards to his development and just mentally and this and that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done by the sounds of it. But it's very low stakes, to be honest with you. Like $250K and a third round pick, whatever.
What a loss from the Dogs, huh? So much investment.
Yeah. Oh, but look, man, it's an NGA player, and then they get Darcy to replace him. And who's the other one that they got? Who's the other recent father-son?
Croft, yeah.
Man, they're going to be just fine. They're going to be just fine. Aaron, they got the astronaut, so... Yeah, I don't feel that bad, to be honest.
No. I don't know. They did have we'll obviously touch on them now. They didn't have a good trade period at all, the Doggies. They did nothing. They tried to get Wilkie.
Yeah. They tried to go for Mark Keane as well, apparently.
Yeah, they
wanted the best of the best when it comes to fullbacks.
Yeah, so they didn't get any of their targets, which, we know that their base level is still pretty good, but they're going to have some more internal improvement. But anyway, so Melbourne also, Clary, to the Giants, basically just sold him off because they're not paying any of his salary anymore.
A lot of players this trade period just fall from grace, huh? Like, I mean, Jamara's a massive fall from grace. Oliver's a fall from grace. Jack Steele's a fall from grace.
Hey.
Who else like just got traded for pretty much nothing?
Yeah.
I mean, to a lesser extent, someone like a Florent, future third.
Yeah. I do want to. We'll get on. I just want to before we move on from Oliver. I just want to say, like, I don't think this is just they shopped him off. Like, they did for their perspective, yeah. But for GWS perspective, fantastic. And I've been talking about them on the pod throughout the year. You know, you got Green, you have Callahan, and then after that, who's your next best mid?
Is it?
It's Kelly, but then Kelly's now. He's
I
not
think
as good.
but he's also injured long term now.
Exactly right. Canelio, always injured, right?
Gone.
Then you're looking at guys like, you know, who's the guy, the in and under guy, he's the mid forward,
O'Halloran.
And then there's, you know, a few other little kids who, you know, I can't even think. All those recently drafted guys. There's you need a third proper decent mid. Hopefully Clayton Oliver can get close to that, you know, because obviously his mind hasn't been there at Melbourne. Hopefully, similar to Petrarca, you know, and similar to other players, they just lock in their new club, and you're in, you know, Western Sydney, less, you know, hopefully less, you know, party vibes over there compared to Melbourne. I don't less media attention. I don't know what, you know, Clary needs to
change of scenery, just in general. Yeah. Is it the tallest starting three midfield of all time? I haven't fact checked this, but you got Oliver, Callahan, and Tom Green.
Yeah, I don't know if Callahan's
monsters.
Yeah, is Oliver that tall?
Oliver's what would he be? 189. He's pretty tall.
I reckon he just plays tall. I don't even know if he's that. Like maybe he's like 185,
Let me check how big
186.
he is.
He's not 185. No way. He's got to be at
Actually,
least
no, you're right. Maybe he's 188.
188 or 9 would be my guess.
Yeah, right.
Georgie.
That's it, mate. See, I thought
All right, 189.
There you go.
189. So that is
Callahan's
actually
like 192 or 3, isn't he?
Yeah, true.
And
No,
Tom
you're
Green's
right.
like 189 as well, 190.
Yeah, so you know you're right. It's actually it's physically
Huge.
imposing, and all of them are good runners too.
Yeah.
When Clary's at his best, he's a good runner.
Yeah, Callahan's
Callahan.
192.
Yeah, he's huge.
I didn't realize he was that big.
Yeah, and the thing is, the amazing thing with Callahan is that he's a winger type,
Fussy.
inside, outside guy as well. So
If that midfield hits the heights, it might look like it can do on paper.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And now you just need, you know, Briggs to be half of what he was 2 years ago, or what's his name? Maybe even the new guy, Madden. Maybe he can be a guy in the ruck, and then all of a sudden, you know, they could be clearance dominant.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The other thing is Tom Green's only 24.
Yeah, Tom Green, mate.
So Callahan and Tom Green are the now, but also the future for a long time.
Yeah.
So they get some support with Oliver. I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly, it's to get a player like that for that cheap. How can it really? Well, it could fail, but it's not a big investment.
Yeah, not a big investment. They're not paying as much of the salary, you know. So it's literally like, it's Melbourne just cleaning up the club and, you know, trying to, you know, change the culture basically. You know, it's
Well, they're going all in now on Lindsay, Langford.
Yeah.
Steele's in there for a bit of leadership, which I don't mind that at all. Like that's a great leader to get in.
7 and 8.
Yeah.
7 and 8, huge.
Yeah. Quick one on Jack Steele. Like before the start of this year, I thought that he could have popped this year and just been a really solid piece. But obviously, it seems like his knees are failing him and he's just not quite there anymore. And I think the game doesn't really suit that type of midfielder anymore. But at least as a player who can part knowledge onto Langfords and, you know, and Lindsay's, and I reckon it's awesome.
I think the leadership is one of the things that they looked at Melbourne. Like you're losing players like Oliver and Petrarca. You know, you still got Vine, you still got Gorn.
Yeah.
Right, you bring in someone like Jack Steele, fresh voice, fresh club, new coach, and you give the young kids support. That's probably one of the main factors for it, right?
Yeah, and a similar like type of signing, Myercheck as well.
Yeah,
I think that's a great pickup because, you know, he's a good leader. You know, he's a player who can crash packs. He can part some knowledge on Van Rooyen, for example. I don't know. I think potentially he might have, you know, a good year. Maybe he might have a 30 or 40 goal year in him still. You know, so it's good.
CJ as well. They got off for the half back. Max Heath has backup for Max Gorn.
But they did lose
McVee.
So
am I sleeping on McVee? Because everyone seems to talk him up like he's really, really good.
he gets spoken up more than I think he's currently delivered, but I think he's half decent. He's got a bit more potential than he's shown.
Yeah.
He's still young.
He's still young.
Maybe I'll watch more Freo. I'll probably watch more Freo games than I do Melbourne games, so I'll find out now if he's actually good.
It is,
Let's be fair. Like,
yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the last few years, they haven't been as good. So
they've been a bore, man. They've been one of the most boring teams to watch.
And I was going to say, like, it's a bit of a warning to the rest of the comp. Like teams like North, obviously, Carlton, trying to hit the heights. Melbourne did it. They won the premiership. So, they've got fond memories with Petrarca, Oliver, etc. But it's kind of surprising they never really kicked on, weren't able to recruit people. Like they had that good era where they got May, Lever, and drafted well. It's like so quickly it can just fall away.
Yeah,
so you kind of need to just reinforce at that time to get that sustained Geelong, Sydney, Hawthorn sort of vibe.
Well, it's interesting you say that because someone like their premiership midfield with Jackson, Oliver and Petrarca are now all gone.
Yeah.
May, they either forced him out or tried to get him out and no one took him.
So he's coming back.
Yeah.
Brayshaw obviously had to retire.
Brayshaw retired.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of talent gone.
A lot's gone wrong. Like it's, I guess, it's a bit of a warning.
Fridge fall from grace as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look, at least for them, I think it's exciting that there's a new coach and a new face, and I think it's going to be a new culture, to be honest with you. I think they're just going to...
Well, it has to be, yeah. The whole makeup of the midfield's gone. So.
Exactly right. So I think, they're probably bottom 4 or 5 team now, proper. Now,
well,
like
they were this year,
you can bank it in now. But yeah, what moves can we talk about next? Like I'm thinking,
there's a couple of teams that did nothing that we can just touch on for a second. Like Port, surprisingly, did nothing.
Yeah,
I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah.
Adelaide tried to get in
Petrarca.
Petrarca initially, but then Archie, which
they're going to get him in the preseason.
Going to walk him there.
Yeah.
Although some teams can get in there. I know it rarely happens, but Port Adelaide's got the pick right before Adelaide, which is interesting.
So Port got Will Brodie, a forgotten man.
Yes.
For pick like 1,000.
Yeah.
Corey Durden, I don't know, man, wanted to come home. They obviously see him as playing some games. And Jacob Ware, who I don't think is a bad player, doesn't get much opportunity at GWS. They've only got pick 49 and 85 this draft, though.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot.
They're in a weird spot, man.
North also did nothing. Obviously, we just mentioned before, Spargo. They tried to bring in a few others, didn't work out.
We'll talk about North a little bit later because it's our team, right? But
sure.
The team,
I wasn't going to say much anyway.
But look, the team that we do have to talk about, St Kilda.
Yeah.
They've transformed their lineup with multiple players. Now,
all of which are, I think, A-grade talent.
Yeah. Look, I think I'm looking at who arrived. So Silvani, De Koning, Flanders, and Ryan. Now, De Koning it's interesting now that there's going to be 5 on the bench and they didn't lose Marshall. So all of a sudden you have Marshall forward, ruck, De Koning full-time ruck, I'm guessing. I think it's actually it's perfect in that regard because you can't rely on Max King. Flanders, right? People are saying, you know what you're going to get out of Flanders. Do people forget how good he was in 2024?
I reckon he's going to be great, man.
Yeah, I reckon he's severely underrated. And the only concern I'd have for him is I heard that he has back problems. I don't know if it's similar to Sam Walsh type vibe, but I think if he, with the opportunity of midfield time and a full preseason and getting his body right, man, he was a jet for them for Gold Coast.
Well, was it that year where he kicked on in the second half of the year? He was really, really good. And then he had the full year after that where he was really good.
So it was 2024 where he played halfback and midfield. Yeah. And
that
wherever he played, he accumulated, he brought pace. It's one of those Bailey Smith, Max Holmes, Nick Dacos running type midfielders that you're getting. You're paying up for him. What was it, pick 7?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I agree.
And also, I like that idea of just clubs just going, you know what, just get it done and move on.
Exactly right. And they're showing intent. They're showing that we want you.
Yeah.
We're going to pay to get you. And I think it's the right type of player because all of a sudden the midfield becomes Naz, him, Windhager as a more defensive option, De Koning in the ruck. That's fun, man.
Yeah, it is.
Fun midfield.
Look, I'm actually quite bullish about St Kilda. I think that they've become obviously way more balanced because they're helping in every line. Silvani back line, Ryan forward line, Tom De Koning, Flanders mid, right? And that's also Tom De Koning forward, Flanders potentially half back, swapping in with Sinclair and these type of types.
Yeah.
And they've got young players that are good. And they had some injuries to some players as well. We talked about Max King and a couple of the other ones that didn't get going, like Philippou didn't get going, for example. Mitch Owens didn't get going. So I reckon you could put a best 22, best 23 of St Kilda right now, and it can look pretty good on paper.
Yeah. At the very least, even if they don't properly contend to make the 8, I will say, as a fan, I'd be happy that my club is trying to improve the squad.
Yep.
Like, and not only have they tried, but they've actually achieved something. They've
Yeah.
achieved the targets, you know. And friend of the pod, Chris, he's been speaking about the war chest that St Kilda have for like 6 years, bro. I swear, he was like, "Oh, the St Kilda war chest, De Goey, Nat Fife." I've heard him spray some of the biggest names of players, and it finally happened for him. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Well,
They finally got their fish, you're right.
I personally think top 8 or bust next year. I know we can say like, oh, I don't know, but just because they haven't been there previously, this is, like you said, there's a handful of players there. A quarter of their team has changed for the better. Plus the youngsters develop and so on. I think if they don't scrape the 8, 7th, 8th at least, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
Personally.
They've gone bold. I mean, the boldness of actually trading out their captain in Jack Steele. Obviously, Jack Steele's not the same player he used to be, but he's still their captain, right? So they're like, well, they're not playing any politic stuff. They're just, our captain's out, he's out.
And they keep Wilkie, huge.
Keep Wilkie. They didn't get Aaliyah, which
That was a weird one.
Which is a
Obviously,
bit weird. We don't know the real case for how he requested a trade and it didn't get done, and he had to go.
Do you think maybe they thought they were losing Wilkie? Because there was some strong rumors, and they're like, "We'll just get Aaliyah." And then when Wilkie's like, "No, I'll stay," like, all right, we don't need Aaliyah anymore. Is it that simple?
Look, yeah. So between the Silvani get and look, I think the Silvani get and the Flanders get were probably not as expected as their other deals. And then at that point, it says like, okay, we've run out of draft capital and we've run out of money, like
that's fair.
cap space, and it sucks for Aaliyah, though. I will say that. And you boys keep talking. I just want to check the recording just because my anxiety's kicking in that regard.
No
One
worries.
second.
We mentioned Sydney. They'd also got Jai Sarong and Malcolm Roses Jr. I'll be honest, I don't know much about Sarong, but I think Roses Jr. is really good.
Well, Sarong, I sort of looked into him a little bit because North was linked with him, and he's won the Box Hill Hawks Best and Fairest twice in a row.
Josh, I can focus again now.
That's all good.
It is recording.
It's alive,
which is good.
So I think he's got some potential off halfback.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting get. And Sydney generally does pretty well with recruiting on the fringes. So I back that pick in. Yeah, Roses is interesting. I mean, they needed a player like that.
I would have liked Blues to go after someone like him. I don't know what the dealings were, but yeah, I think he's quite talented.
I think he's a bit better as an idea than what he's actually delivered, but he's got potential. I don't mind him.
Yeah, that's fair.
West Coast, Starcevic, Tyler Young. They've lost.
And they'll
Oscar
get Devon
Allen
Robinson, I think, as well.
and Dev Robinson.
Yeah.
Oscar Allen, Campbell Chester, Liam Ryan have gone.
Yeah. Look, for them, they're in a tough spot, but I think at least you get a couple bodies in the defense because it's been depleted. So that's something. Now it's just
1, 2, and 13, man.
You've got to
that's
nail
it.
the
That's
pitch.
what
They
it is.
need to get 3 guns, man.
Yeah, and that's it. And potentially they might trade down and get extra picks.
I wouldn't even do that, man.
Yeah. Look, I agree. I think my very limited draft knowledge tells me you get Dersma, and then Cooper Duff Tyler seems like a Luke Jackson type player, and with the rules going into 5 interchanges, you can manage to have him, Bailey Williams, and who's our other tall kid who was really good?
Shanahan.
Shanahan. You can manage to have a few talls like that. And I think there was even another decent young tall that they had. So it's like, I reckon, again, very limited draft knowledge. You get those 2 types of players because they can,
There's almost no reason to trade out. If you are in the lucky position to have picks 1 and 2, you almost never, ever should consider getting rid of that power.
Think about what like Gold Coast did with Rowell and Anderson. How they changed their whole trajectory.
Unfortunately, the prospects, by what it seems, and I haven't followed the draft this year either, aren't as good, which is the problem for them. But still, you have the best pick of your 2. Just go for it.
I agree with
exactly
that.
right. Yeah, back in your your draft and recruitment guys.
If you really want more picks, trade your future second for a second this year. Do it that way. Like,
I reckon, because a lot of people talk about the trading of different players. I reckon, don't overcomplicate it.
No.
Get the 2 best players and then let the other team scrap for the rest. Let Essendon try to pick the best 7th player in the draft and let Richmond pick the 3rd best and the 4th best. I think that's probably the better way to go.
Yeah.
On Richmond, I have no idea. Patrick Rechko was for that really late selection. Tyler Young. So not much really. I think they're just going to the draft and internal development.
Well, they brought in enough players last year, so they got plenty going on.
Before we go to North quickly, did we miss anyone? Hawthorn, obviously they missed out on Merritt. It is probably a little bit of a disappointing
Failure. Yeah, they failed.
Because they went all in on him. And look, if they're focusing on Merritt the whole trade period and it fails, they don't have time to pivot to anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they didn't. They ruled out Petrarca early, and Gold Coast went and got him because they were all in on Merritt. There's one that sucks for them. That's a loss.
Well, Oscar Allen earlier in the year didn't get him.
Yeah, look, they don't need him, to be honest with you. I think they've got enough. They've got a deep enough forward line.
It's still interesting though, because they're a big club, recruiting well, it seems. But now this is the time where they've done well enough to get in this position.
Yeah, and you feel like he's the missing piece in the midfield to kind of just give him that thing that makes him a top 4 team, and they go for a genuine shout. But they don't have that, so Will Dane needs to come back and kind of play a full season.
Yeah, I was going to say, to be fair, like they did put a pretty strong foot forward to Essendon, so I don't think it was their fault in that case. But
yeah, look, the only thing I will say is it sounded like Essendon said, "Give us a player that we're interested in, not just Husway." Like I think that I've heard Cam McKenzie was a player that got floated, and obviously whether it was Hawthorn didn't try hard enough to persuade a player to go, or these players are just like, why the hell would I want to go to Essendon?
That's fair.
I love it here.
It's
The
a hard
culture's
sell.
good. It is a super hard sell.
And they had to sell that to Hayward and Florent, right? Which is a bit of a shit situation to be in as a player. No one wanted to leave Sydney, right?
No.
But Sydney was able to convince those players and give Carlton a player that they were interested in, which is Hayward.
Yeah.
Hawks couldn't do that for Essendon, and that's what it fell through. But I feel like
it's different.
They missed a big opportunity to improve their list massively, man.
Yeah, true. I got this with Hayward. I think there was a decision between you guys and Sydney, like last year or the year before. Like it would always. I think it was in calculations in his head already. Go home.
We've chased him before, yeah.
Exactly right. So at least there's some ongoing interest. But to move Melbourne club to Melbourne club and like get a huge downgrade and play for a club that, let's be fair, is probably one of the it's bottom 4 clubs. The way it's been run in the league. It's
a hard sell for sure.
Super hard sell. Anyway,
Freo, we talked about Judd McVie, really the only in. They've lost Will Brodie and Liam Reedy. We haven't talked about Liam Reedy for the Blues. Dockers fans seem to be a little bit upset about this loss, but when they've got 2 ruckmen, like that's just what happens. You just lose players like that for nothing. McVie hopefully can help be a little bit more of an attacking player off the half-back line, but probably Freo, a young team, internal improvement, see if they can go
and they did well last year.
Yeah.
Getting Bolton in, so.
Geelong got Warple. They didn't get any of their other fishes like they wanted Kerner, but probably not enough.
Refreshing that they didn't get everything that they wanted at all times.
Yeah. Marshall honestly would have been just the perfect player for them, man. Like for that midfield, just a combative ruckman and one that, will get involved in the clearances. And I think, Marshall's a throw it on the boot type clearance player, which I love him for Supercoach, but I hate watching it in real life. I'm sure Chris Scott would have just told him, hey, bro, as soon as you get your hands on the ball, don't chuck it on the boot. Hand pass it to Bailey Smith. That's all you got to do. Hand pass it to Bailey Smith. Hand pass it to Max Holmes. They're going to run and they're going to do their thing. But
funnily enough, even if he did do that for Geelong, they've got Neil and Cameron up forward. It's not the worst scenario.
No, you're right, actually. So
at the Saints, it was a bit of a problem.
I think it's a bit of... Look, I don't know. I mean, Saints obviously didn't want to get rid of him, but it would have been a very handy pickup to boost their midfield power, because I think that's their main weakness, is their ability to get contested ball in there. Warple helps the need for that, gives them more depth. Geelong will be fine next year, but yeah, and I think getting Warple early kind of rode off the Oliver kind of interest as well. Let's keep going. There's one more team.
I reckon we'll talk about North and Jai Simpkin, because that kind of leads to Collingwood as well.
Yeah.
So with Jai, I think it's an interesting situation in the end for North. So I think it's a huge reality check for him, because Collingwood came with a 2nd round pick as an offer, and that's how externally clubs rate him. Obviously us as North Melbourne, we rate him highly because we gave him big money and we asked for 1 or 2 draft. We asked for 2 first round picks, which I reckon if we got 1 and maybe a 2nd or 1 and a 3rd, it potentially could have happened. But yeah, I think it should be a reality check of, hey, this is your value externally, and this is how we see you as a player and how important we see you. Now, hopefully he takes that, and I think he would, because he seems like a professional type guy. Hopefully, he takes encouragement for that and takes motivation from it and be like, I'm going to go, I'm going to play, I'm going to train hard, I'm going to do that role on the wing, I'm going to do that role half forward, and I'm going to, try to elevate this club. But yeah, the sad thing for him, right, for Simpkin, is he made a bit of a post on Insta, and I don't know how true this is, right? But basically it was along the lines of he stopped enjoying his footy because the team sucks. Basically, to paraphrase, I haven't enjoyed. Like, game day was getting hard. Like that it just shows what it's like for those bad teams. Like, if you're losing all the time, how can you, as a sportsman who your whole life is like, I'm the guy, all of a sudden you're not the guy. You're playing for a team that sucks. How do you motivate yourself to be good? Like, it shows us how hard it is.
Well, this is what I've been saying for a while in regards to North directly, is you need the kind of players who actually change that. And I'm not saying that Jai hasn't given it his all.
Yeah, of course.
Like, he's probably a good example of someone who actually is giving it everything. But just generally speaking, at a certain point, these bad teams need players that actually influence the result, not just the nice player sort of thing. So as a collective, that's North's challenge, to just become a better team and get difference makers in the team. And so often we've recruited like Isaac Fishers and Darcy Tuckers. Like, these guys are just guys. Yeah. With all due respect.
These are guys, bro.
With all due respect, we need recruits that will actually have an impact. And for the most part, it's just draft capital with us because no one's coming to North. I had a chat with you the other day, Matzo, about Brady Rawlings. Because I think he gets unfair flack.
Oh, mate, they crucify him, bro.
He gets crucified online. Like, I'm not surprised. It could be anyone, and I'm sure other fans are sort of roasting their own, list management and whatever. But I would just remind all North Melbourne fans, like, firstly, we're North Melbourne Footy Club, one of the smallest in the league. So at our height of heights, we weren't a team recruiting anybody of note. And our successful recruits like a Jared Waite or a Sean Higgins were speculative picks at the time. They weren't sure thing, prone, big recruits, right? And we've had a fair share of failures as well, overpaying guys like Polek and whatnot. Disaster. So even in the world where North's a top 4 team, I'm still never going to expect us to be recruiting like a big end team. Right? So that's one thing. So then you look, say, maybe at the draft. Bring up any team's list of picks over the last 10 years, 15 years, and you will see successes and you will see failures. And probably the list of failures is longer, right? For any team. So as far as I see it, man, like, as a 30-year-old North Melbourne fan, my favourite player being Brent Harvey. I didn't get to enjoy the Wayne Carey era and all that. Favourite player, Brent Harvey. Second favourite player, Harry Sheasel, who, I would add, wasn't a sure thing to be picked when he was picked. He could have slid a few more picks, right? Colby McKercher on his way. There's so many good players and some risks, like last year getting rid of this year's first-round pick for Matt Whitlock. TBD, is he going to be worth it?
Yeah.
But I like the fact that there was a proactive nature there. And the point being, I guess my overall thing is, if you're a North fan, you have to look at North through the lens of the reality of what we are. And we need to take that underdog status and actually try and improve from within. I would love it if we could recruit like St Kilda. But even St Kilda, at where they're at with the money and being a slightly higher status club, we're just not there yet. So take it. I think the whole club should take personally that we got rejected by Maynard, Starcevic, etc. Sim can take it personally and channel that shit into some anger and just get better.
Yeah.
And then you might be able to get someone. That's a whole club mentality. We need to become more savage.
Yeah.
In terms of the next captain, a lot of people calling for Larky and so on, give it to Harry Sheasel, please. I don't care. You want to compare him to Carey when you gave it to him when he was 21. This kid is the most ready AFL captain of all time.
And there's precedent as well.
Yeah. Of all time.
Anderson's a captain. Rosie's a captain.
There has never been a kid this age more ready to be captain of the club. Don't hold him back, man. Yeah. Don't make him overthink it and think he needs to do this and that. The kid's ready right now.
Yeah.
There's no one more professional, arguably, in the whole league than this kid.
Yeah. No, right? that's fair call.
You want to give it to Larky? I'm going on a bit of a rant right now because it pisses me the hell off.
Go.
Nick Larky, when he signed his big contract, had a dip in form because he admitted the pressure got to him of being a big money player. You want this guy to be the North Melbourne captain? I love Nick Larky, but he's got a good place as like a vice captain and just a leader around the club. Shees is the man. Let's give him the keys and let's go.
Yeah, well, that's fair. Look, you look at their parts in the social media world. Harry Sheasel was it weekly SEN or bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. And with Nick Larky, it's Rafa Nadal impressions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what they are known for. I think you want the guy who's doing SEN. He's talking about when to eat his avocados. You know what I mean?
He's a great leader. Again, don't get me wrong, but Shees, man, 2 out of the 3 years he's been in the league, he's won our BNF, deservedly.
Yeah.
Right? And again, the Larky thing after he signed the contract concerns me. LDU, same thing. Signed his big money deal. Concerns me his dip in form before he corrected it later.
Yeah.
Shees is the only player on our list who literally has never really played a bad game in 3 years.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Whenever he plays games that are low Supercoach scores and everyone gets upset with him, right? Those are games where he changes positions. He's doing a different role. Whenever he plays halfback, whenever he plays midfield, he's accumulating and he's using the ball well.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the ball use will get even better as the game slows down for him.
Man, like and again, even his bad games, he's still probably getting 20 touches.
Yeah, no,
we're just so used to because the day he stepped onto the turf, he barely drops below 30 touches.
Yeah.
And when he does, North fans are like, oh, quiet Sheasel game.
Yeah.
The dude's played everywhere, to your point. Forward, defense, midfield, everywhere, inside, out. Does absolutely everything off the field to improve himself. This is the example. If you want to say North, who's your leader, who's showing the standards in and out, on game day and out of it, it's Harry Sheasel.
Yeah.
Look, from an outside perspective, 100% agree. Yeah, I think he's your guy.
Yeah.
We probably have to wrap it up quickly now. So just quickly, Brisbane.
Yes.
Back-to-back grand finals, back-to-back premiers. Get Oscar Allen and Sam Draper.
Yes.
Lose Starcevic and we'll lose Archie.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
But that doesn't matter.
Plus all the injuries that are coming back next year.
Yeah.
Look, so for me, the Draper one isn't as like he'll be good.
Yeah.
But the other one.
So Big O retired though, yeah?
Yeah. And that's the big thing because if Big O goes, you know, Darcy Ford probably plays half the season and they get Draper ready. They get him, you know, rehabbed from his Achilles.
He'll be good, but I think the Allen one, if he's fit, scary times. People forget this guy when he burst on the scene how good he was, and he's just had a bad run at it, and the team's just become horrible when he was in it. But
did he get what was it 50 goals for West Coast in 2023 or something? Yeah, no, it's a huge pickup. And now the interesting thing is that they're kind of going to be low on depth for defenders. He showed that he could play defense last year, you know, at points. I don't think obviously you don't get him for that, but worst case scenario, you know, you just let Ty Gallup and Morris, you know, take the reins up forward, and you know. There's a bit of versatility there. But
it'll work out. He's going to get fit. He's going to become one of the best in the league, in my opinion, up forward.
I think just a little preview, spoiler. Pretty sure Brisbane will be number one on our...
when we do that ladder prediction.
Next year.
Yeah. I love the ladder prediction video every year, honestly. Just... Because we do it as a team, and we know we go one pick each, and then you know Georgie always puts Carlton at 6th or something.
Yeah, not this year, next year.
Good,
they'll be 8th.
Nah, look, let's be fair. They're gonna talk some players up during the preseason.
Yeah. Like, Motlop's is Judd.
He's ready to Motlop's Judd. Brody Kemp's gonna replace Charlie Curnow and kick 70 goals. But yeah, we know how it ended. Collingwood didn't do much. And you know, they didn't bully North Melbourne out of Jai Simpkin. They, you know, what did they get? Buller for Myercheck. That's a good feeling as well. That's a nice way to.
I think they're on the way down, mate.
Yeah.
Prices are down.
Maybe, but for me, you go and get Houston last year, which, you know, they did well to get, but there was better offers on the table for him. This is what happens. You can't just keep trading your future picks and not having draft capital and then keep wanting to recruit people. At a certain point, the picks run out.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Look, they brought in, so it was Perryman, Houston, both last year. And there might have even been another one. But
Schultz the year before.
Yeah, Schultz the year before. You know, and they gave so much for Schultz, yet they were going to give a second for Jai.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah, you know, trying to bully small clubs around.
So again, credit to North, credit to Brady Rawlings.
Yeah.
Saying hell no.
Yeah, credit to Essendon again. You know, with the Zach Merritt situation. You know, the clubs are bringing back the power is what I like. You know, because stuff these agents and the players. I think players should be able to get traded wherever the club wants, wherever the club gets the most value.
Yeah, and just quickly, like you'll see a Kane Corn say like he's against the really long term deals. He has a massive point.
I think he's aged very well.
If you're gonna sign it. You have to be aware that if you change your mind, it's most likely going to be a too bad unless the offer is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then it's hard for other clubs to get those players because they're on such big contracts and money.
Exactly right. So, you know, friend of the pod, Kane Corns, shout out to you, bro.
He's bang on in it.
He's right.
There's a spot right here for you, Kano.
Exactly right, man. It is a 3-seater couch, man. But yeah, anyway, I think we'll end it there. That was a fun one. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. We'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.
Bye.